Welcome to the Poetry Fix on Radio Free Hillsdale 101.7 FM. I'm your host, Erica Kaiba, bringing you your weekly fix of poetry from across time. Today we're continuing our journey through On the Morning of Christ's Nativity by John Milton. Whereas last week we talked about creation's response of awe to the Christ child, this week's excerpt brings us a different possible reaction to Christ, a shame born of recognized inferiority. Milton personifies the sun, Apollo, as hiding his head in shame at his inferiority to the very Prince of Light. In this description, there are some parallels of Adam's reaction to God after his fall. Once original sin takes root in creation, everything corrupted by it becomes ashamed at its own impurity in the face of the absolute good. However, this is not to say that Milton's personified sun and the rest of creation are not good in themselves. The poet merely shows how these lesser goods pale in comparison to the highest good. This same principle applies to Milton's approach to the classical pagan tradition, whom the Apollo sun figure may symbolize. The pagan tradition provided light and guidance in its way, but a higher revelation is now here. Milton then moves to describe the reaction of men to the Messiah, starting with the shepherds, who were among the first to honor the Christ child. He describes them as completely absorbed in their earthly cares before being suddenly swept up in the rapture of a divine music, likely from the angel choir that comes to them to announce the arrival of Jesus. The poem thus progresses from the hush of awe to a jubilant swell of music that greets the incarnate God. With all that said, let's dive in. On the Morning of Christ's Nativity by John Milton. And though the shady gloom had given day her room, the sun himself withheld his wonted speed, and hid his head for shame, as his inferior flame the new enlightened world no more should need. He saw a greater sun appear, than his bright throne or burning axle-tree could bear. The shepherds on the lawn, or ere the point of dawn, sate simply chatting in a rustic row. Full little thought they then that the mighty Pan was kindly come to live with them below. Perhaps their loves, or else their sheep, was all that did their silly thoughts so busy keep. When such music sweet their hearts and ears did greet, as never was by mortal finger strook, divinely warbled voice, answering the stringed noise, as all their souls in blissful rapture took. The air such pleasure loath to lose, with thousand echoes still prolongs each heavenly close. Nature, that heard such sound beneath the hollow round of Cynthia's seat, the airy region thrilling, now was almost won to think her part was done, and that her reign had here its last fulfilling. She knew such harmony alone could hold all heaven and earth in happier union. At last surrounds their sight a globe of circular light, that with long beams the shamefaced night arrayed. The helmed cherubim and sworded seraphim are seen in glittering ranks with wings displayed, harping in loud and solemn choir, with unexpressive notes to heaven's newborn heir. Such music, as 'tis said, before was never made, but when of old the sons of morning sung, while the Creator great his constellations set, and the well-balanced world on hinges hung, and cast the dark foundations deep, and bid the weltering waves their oozy channel keep. You've been listening to The Poetry Fix with Erica Kaiba. If you enjoyed this episode, consider following The Poetry Fix on Spotify, YouTube, or Apple Podcasts. And if you have any poems you want to see in a future episode, email your suggestions to thepoetryfix@gmail.com. Join me next week, and we'll be continuing our journey through the Nativity Ode.